As we approach football season, things are already looking pretty darn good for DraftKings, one of the nation's largest online sportsbooks. I've been steadfastly bull on this one, just the whole way. After the close, DraftKings reported an impressive quarter. Revenue growth accelerated to 37%, better than expected earnings, higher than expected earnings for interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. These results were driven by what DraftKings calls a sportsbook-friendly outcomes in the quarter. And the company only reiterated its full-year forecast, but management did say that it now expects to see revenue near the high end of its guidance range. That was good enough to send the stock flying in after-hours trading. But what's the long-term bull case here? Let's check in with Jason Robins, a friend of the show, co-founder, chairman, and CEO of DraftKings, to get a better sense of the quarter, what comes next. Mr. Robins, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thank you for having me back.
All right.
Great to talk to you.
Yeah, Jason, well, look, this is a pretty good number, really good set of numbers. What's driving these numbers? Because it's not a quarter that I would necessarily expect to be as strong as it was.
Well, first, thank you. It's we're really excited. It's a huge record for us. It's to put in perspective, more than double our highest adjusted EBITDA quarter previously. So really great to see. Q2 is a good quarter. There's definitely no football, which hurts a little bit. But you got NBA, NHL playoffs, baseball starting, and more importantly, it's a quarter that we really are able to make more profit because it's not our heaviest marketing quarter. Q3 and Q4 and also Q1 when you have NFL going on has more marketing spend going. So definitely a good time to make profit, and we're excited about the numbers. Over $300 million for the first time ever. We're really excited about that.
Now, Jason, one of the things I did see, you kind of alluded to that, but it looks like each gambler's gambling more, and the gamblers don't cost as much to be able to get. I would think that that's just kind of that it's really an inflection moment, and you could be on the cusp of some very big numbers.
Well, I think right now we're at a great stage where we're still seeing a ton of growth and really also able to start making real profit. So I'm excited about that. The numbers look great. We have an increase in our year-over-year players. We have an increase in spend per player. I had a little bit of friendly outcomes in the quarter, which was nice. It swings both ways. People can see now. It was tough after the last two quarters. We got stung, but good to have the other way, and really excited about the upcoming NFL season too. We have some big bets coming in on that already.
Well, I wanted to ask you. I always think of you guys as innovation. I like to just check to see what you've got going. You've got some stuff for me for opening day, September 4th, with the Eagles.
Oh yeah. Well, Eagles right now are the second most bet on team. I hate to say not first, just behind the Lions. They are the favorite though, so maybe the Lions people like the odds a little better. Believe it or not, Jim, somebody put a $25,000 bet on the Raiders to win the Super Bowl at a $2.5 million payout. $2.5 million payout. If
well, you know what? I don't know. So, that's like a long shot stock. Maybe that's Palantir for all I know at 30, right? I mean, who can tell? They've got a new quarterback. It could be. Now, when you talk about the sports-friendly outcomes, is it like, for instance, J.J. Spawn won the U.S. Open in golf. That was kind of people didn't think that could happen. So that could be a good day, a good series for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, usually when the favorites win, it's not as good for us. So when you see a long shot like that win, it's usually good for the books.
Now let's talk about this prediction betting. Robinhood gets it. I don't think they have anywhere near the safeguards that you guys have to constantly. I mean, look, candidly, a lot of times when I'm looking at your ads, it says it's gamble, but don't gamble. I mean, I always feel like okay, I'm warned. But I don't know. Robinhood doesn't have that kind of protections for the people who are gambling.
Well, listen, I think that federally regulated markets it's a different regulation system, and I'm sure they're following the rules that they need to. For us, it's an interesting area. We're keeping an eye on it. Obviously, something that we need to take seriously and figure out a strategy around. But I do think it's a different regulatory framework, and you can argue whether you believe or not that they're appropriately regulating any of these things. But I do think it's an example of where you see the sports betting and online gaming that's state regulated. It's much heavier than most other forms of regulation. And so when I hear people say it's not enough, it sort of surprises me because relative to a lot of other activities, it's a much more heavily regulated industry.
Well, look, I love daily fantasy. You know that. Daily fantasy is one of my favorite things, particularly when my team falls back. You know that. But, California, you've got some state attorney general. He's against daily fantasy.
Well, we obviously don't agree with him on that. We've been operating peer-to-peer contests there for over 13 years, and I think it's pretty established that that's clearly legal under California law. But we're going to work collaboratively with that office as well as with any regulators that raise issue. And I usually find that once you can get in the room and explain the facts, people get it.
Now, how about this OBBBA, the beautiful bill, gambling tax implications where it's possible that because they changed the law, we had a piece on this, it's possible you could end up paying tax when you haven't made money. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it's a very strange change, but my understanding it was done as part of a technicality in order to follow the Byrd rule, which is about as far as my expertise here goes. But I don't think that there was really a total understanding of what that meant, and I do think there's been some appetite you've seen to fix it. Right. So we're trying to work with congressional members to do that, and hopefully we'll be successful. I do think it's something that doesn't make sense if you can't deduct all your losses. How does that make sense that you pay income tax on something that's not actually income?
There would have been a time where our whole conversation would have been different. I would have said, look, until California, until Texas, until Florida, until you get those, I'm actually not that interested. What do you think is the big change that made it so that didn't even come up in the discussion until the end of the interview?
Well, listen, I think the fact that it's such a big TAM, and we do have quite a bit of legalization outside of those states, and those states I think will eventually come, right? It's just a matter of time, at least some of them. But, obviously the biggest states are the ones where you have the most stakeholders and sometimes take the longest. And I do think that there's been progress made across the board. So I feel eventually there'll be close to 50 states with sports betting, and I can't imagine a world where you can, bet in 30, 40 plus states, and California is not one of them, and Texas is not one of them. So I think eventually that will happen.
All right, one last one. It's kind of it's a little bit away from it, but my daughter asked me to ask you. When you had those bets, which like an anytime touchdown Mahomes, which is to open an account, has it ever been such of a layup and yet not paid off?
Usually when we put those out there, we know they're going to pay off because it's intended to get somebody excited and open an account.
I think that those are the most. I always tell people.
It's a fun way to experience the product, right?
Because people realize what it's like to win. It's absolutely terrific. Well, you're great to have on, Jason. Jason Robins, DraftKings co-founder, chairman, and CEO after a terrific quarter. Jason, I love having you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody's back after the break.
Coming up, Cramer takes your calls, and the sky's the limit. It's a fast-fire lightning round. Next. Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on X. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadMentions. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.